world's gone to shit, but there's one thing I know. Oh, it's happened before, it'll happen again. Don't despair, don't give up. If you do, oh, they win. So we ride, keeping our heads down until we're on the other side. Oh, we ride, we ride this bullshit out. The game is rigged, the road is hard, but saddle up and play your cards and ride, keeping our heads down until we're on the other side. Oh, we ride, we ride this bullshit out. Everything's gone to hell, just can't trust anyone. All around us is nonsense. Get your boots, saddle up, take the reins, 'cause today we ride, keeping our heads down until we're on the other side. Oh, we ride, we ride this bullshit out. We ride it out. Ooh, ride. We'll always ride this bullshit out.
In this episode, we will discuss something that Grosspecans had brought up in a faked message that was taken completely out of context. Miss Gressley had told someone about an incident involving other narcissists in another Discord server, and Grosspecans capitalized on it for his own benefit. This is the detailed recounting of that referenced incident now.
Hello, everyone. My name is Maxwell. Hello, Nermal dear. I know Miss Gressley very well.
Hello, Max. Thank you for being here for me.
I will provide more insight into the situation. Just before the holidays in 2022, Ms. Gressley was a mod for 2 YouTubers. Both YouTubers got into a fight. They were both diagnosed with BPD, and one of them is a narcissist. She tried to have them make peace, but instead, one decided to abuse her, including in a 6+ hour long stream that was removed from YouTube after being reported as abusive. He has a history of abusing other YouTubers and former fans as well. The second YouTuber decided to side with another narcissistic fan. Miss Gressley ran a Discord for both YouTubers. 2 members were a couple who were constantly inappropriate in the server. She finally banned the one male after he posted an image of a woman that was deemed misogynistic. The girlfriend of the man had a tantrum, and Miss Gressley kicked her out. Others attacked her for it. Earlier that day, 2 other members had gotten into a fight. One chose to act immaturely, and despite different political beliefs, the other was a lot more civil. The one who had the tantrum decided to add to the drama. Miss Gressley kicked him out as well. He then went and made a server of his own, and used it as a platform to harass her with the members that were kicked out for being inappropriate. This gay man who had a husband was flirting with both a teenager and the girlfriend of the man Miss Gressley kicked out. The man had a teenager named Clayton fake a message to harass Miss Gressley with. Her friend and fellow Discord member tried to have the YouTuber who Miss Gressley had made the Discord in honor of discipline, the members who had been abusive. Instead, the YouTuber lashed out at Miss Gressley and her supporter. Both decided to part ways with the YouTuber after the betrayal and his willingness to defend an abuser. Miss Gressley never had any inappropriate interactions with any underage members. She didn't flirt with any of the members and didn't like overly flirtatious reactions between members because she had only come out as asexual recently at this point and was still trying to understand her identity in its entirety. The name of the fellow fan who abused Miss Gressley is called John. He and his friend Clayton conspired to make her look bad. She never doxed him. She was never sexually inappropriate with Clayton or anyone else. These things were fabricated to make her look bad.
Right. The first YouTuber was Dan, and the second was Rick. Dan has been abusive to others before me and has done so after. He lost a lot of real-life friends who would come on his channel because of it, and he'd always blame them. He'd carefully curate things so we'd only see and believe his side of things. He would apologize, not to me or to other victims, but to his panderers, saying things like he'd been under a lot of stress and needed to go back to therapy, etc. They weren't full-hearted apologies, more like excuses somewhat masked as apologies. He'd appreciate you when you worked your way up the ranks. He'd reward you with moderator status. When something about you ticked him off that you weren't even aware of, he'd knock you off that pedestal and hurl abuse at you until he silenced you. Rick was the more docile, but he would keep feeding into Dan's negativity, even though it frustrated a lot of people. He gave in to John, who was also a narcissist. John had a lot of tendencies like Dan. I wouldn't call Rick a narcissist. He wanted attention and validation, probably because of the BPD, despite having a stable and happy home life, and could be sneaky, but he wasn't the instigator like Dan and John were. He had some sympathy and lacked a lot of the traits the narcissists have.
You can see from some of these screenshots, the abusive behavior and insults follow the same pattern as with Gross, Dance, and the others. In fact, it's most likely probable that Gross had somehow gotten a hold of some of this information to bastardize and intentionally misinterpret, so he could twist the story for his own intentions. There was evidence that one of the YouTubers, Dan, who harassed Ms. Gresley, had also sexually abused one young man, and may have been in a sexual relationship with a second one who was originally a minor. This is the same man who threatened to throw Miss Gresley down subway steps and made a slew of other insults about her during his 6+ hour YouTube livestream rant. Her supporter is the person they claim was a minor, and who they claim she was in a sexual relationship with. She never was in any such relationship with him. He is gay. She is completely asexual and not attracted to anyone, and they share a purely platonic friendship. Ms. Gresley's friend is also not a minor, and he was not a minor at the time these incidents occurred. This incident happened just a few months prior to the Grosspecans incident, and Ms. Gresley was comparing the two incidents to each other to find similarities between them.
I see the pattern. They liked her until she could no longer put up with their behavior, when she no longer gave them validation, when they didn't like she stood up for herself and others. They decided to do a discard on her. They abused her. They wanted her to hurt so they could feel better about themselves. They were jealous of the moderator power she had. They didn't like when she wouldn't let them do whatever they wanted, despite how inappropriate. So they conspired as a group to take it away from her as an act of revenge. The insults from both the narcissistic YouTuber, his followers, and the ones from John and the former Discord members follow the same adolescent formula.
Right? They scream the playground called, it wants its childish insults back. These people lack originality. They just copy each other, taking advantage of open opportunities being nasty. It's so low effort. It's disgusting that they managed to make it so effective. It's a lot like when a fortune teller or psychic medium does cold readings, except instead of just taking your money, these people do far worse.
Oh, you're right. I see that now too.
They don't follow the same logic as normal people who have compassion. Life is a game to them, designed to seek their high. They seek validation and focus solely on themselves. Anyone else is being used without their knowledge for these gains. The former enabler of Grosspecans even talked about how he used her and broke her heart after she was drawn into his circle. She was used solely to create pain and harass Ms. Gresley for the benefit of Grosspecans getting that precious validation. And it worked for a while.
Thank you so much for providing these additional details. This helps to fill in the gaps substantially. In the next episode, we will discuss other enablers related to danceinator, Dirty Percy 6 traumatizedwi, and Grosspecans Eepy from Reddit. We will discuss various harassment from Tumblr users who decided to continue the abuse as a result from this whole debacle.
I just wanted to clear up a couple of things that have been going on recently with the whole thing with why I don't. Oh, he only goes down there to suck Dan's dick. like shit like this, when I've never had a single sexual thought or relation with this person. Recently, Dan obviously cut off Rick, and I got into a Discord. I was in the Discord chat with Dan, and I had said some things about how, you know, maybe people should not just take it as a one-sided issue, and maybe people should look at Dan and Rick's issue from two different perspectives. And I said also, you know, I was trying to convey the fact of on it unless they were in. And you know, I was trying to be like, and I was contacted by Dan to be like, what the fuck are you doing? Um, you know, like, why, what does this mean? Why did you say this? And he, you know, got emotional with me on the phone over this. And I had thought we had a very good conversation where, you know, I apologized and I had said, you know, I'm sorry for saying, you know, maybe I worded that wrong, but this is what I meant. And, you know, I kind of left out the fact that I felt like maybe Dan was partially an issue on that, which Dan's been going through mental health things. I'm not going to diminish that at all. I understand that mentally has some things that are going on, but the main issue I have, I used to be obsessed with Dan. A little bit of backstory with people, or for people. I used to watch his videos. I used to be like obsessed, man. And for years and years and years, he called me a stalker. I was like 16. Called me a stalker, and went on to which to me, for all of that time, and it was later, even after we were friends, joked about multiple times. But the more I think back on it, and even at the time, I was so young and like starstruck that I didn't realize how much it genuinely, like, he would talk about how I was like he thought I was a stalker and I was going to kill him and this and that, and eventually had like agreed to hang out with me because my grandfather had passed away, and um and I think he felt bad, or he said he felt bad for me or whatever. And I didn't me hearing that, I was like, oh, I'm hanging out with this person that I've always wanted to be like around. I've always wanted to hang out with this person. But I didn't really I let it diminish the fact of how much the words that were being said to me were like actually felt to me, I guess, and it usually made me feel fuckful because you know what I mean? Like, I'm like, oh, I'm not like that. I just really liked this person's videos and like looked up to this person. It's like having like an idol, like a celebrity. Like, you look up to any celebrity, but they always tell you don't meet the people that you look up to, because you'll always be disappointed. And at the time, I was like, I'm not disappointed with this. I am like, this is like a dream come true with me. Like, I'm around this person that I've wanted to like mirror and be around all this time. And so I was I was 17 when we first hung out, and I turned 18 shortly after. I have always seen Dan as a close friend of mine. Never in my life have I seen Dan as somebody that I went over there to fucking use him for shit, or use him for fucking content, or whatever. I was a fucking lonely teenager who looked up to him, who went down to Baltimore, and it was like a big thing for me to go down there and hang out and film with him. Like, that was a cool fucking, like, I genuinely, like, we would have like deep talks and shit about like what was going on. Like, shit was like, I thought it was genuine. The the fucking so the whole thing during COVID, like, we kind of stopped hanging out. It was obviously COVID was going on, and then later on, we like regained. He had moved into this apartment in Fells Point, and I had regained like some whatever to go back down there, and I went back down to a couple of times to this apartment. It wasn't the same. Like, I was getting older, and there was like this weird like disconnect that was happening. Like, I don't know what the fuck was going on, but it was like this weird fucking disconnect between me and him that like, I could tell something was off. Dylan comes around, and I absolutely love Dylan. Dylan was very sweet. I don't know Dylan enough to like really speak on Dylan, but this is the timeline. Dylan came around, and we all hung out, and I think we went to like Guitar Center. He was trying to set up stuff for his podcast. He had just gotten that office, and I think he was getting ready to move out of his apartment into the new apartment that he's in now in the Belvedere, whatever. And we hung out, and I was gonna stay the night because Baltimore is like an hour and a half drive, or it was like almost 2 hours from where I lived at the time. I only live like an hour from Baltimore now, but it was like an almost 2 hour drive, and I didn't feel like driving. Like I couldn't drive back. Like it was late. Dan stays up late, and you know what I mean. I don't want to pass out driving. So Dan was like, we were doing the podcast shit, and Dan said, Dan's like, God damn it. Dan's like, oh, you can stay over. Well, I'm at his house, sleeping on the couch, and he calls Dylan and like starts cussing Dylan out, like screaming, telling Dylan like I need to get the fuck out of his apartment, like he can't do this, I don't need to be there, like this and that. Dylan's like telling him like you're treating your friend like shit right now. You should probably like what the fuck, you know what I mean? And I'm listening in on this whole conversation because I can hear like through the fucking wall. And I'm like, what the fuck? Like, we were literally all good earlier. Like, Dan left me and Dylan at the apartment. He went out and got food. Like, starts fucking just screaming. So I got up, took my shit, left, and I texted him and I was like, hey, I'm leaving. I'm legitimately in the car and fucking cried and like drove home. And I think I slept in a fucking parking lot. Like, I think I got in my car and I drove to like a McDonald's parking lot and slept in my car because I didn't want to fucking drive out of Baltimore. Because I was like so tired. I was like, how am I gonna fucking drive 2 hours home? There was an issue with Rick. Every single time that I would be down there, Rick and him he would shit talk Rick, like straight up. I'm not saying Rick is an angel, right? Rick has his problems, and Rick has done some fucked up shit on his part that like Rick probably shouldn't have said this, or Rick probably shouldn't have done that. Like this is what I mean when it was like a mutual thing. Like Rick definitely deserves some of the shit that he gets, but I will say like there was fuck ups on Rick's part. But from the get go, I'd go down and Rick would be like coming over, and Dan would be sitting there going, oh, I fucking hate Rick. Like Rick's so fucking annoying. Like him and his fucking wife. Like Rick wants me to fucking go set up his YouTube live for him, and he's such a fucking boomer, and he doesn't know how to fucking do anything. Would say shit like that, and then Rick would come over, and he'd be like, "Oh, hi, Rick. Like, how are you?" Like, and then like, there would also be other times when like straight up to Rick, like straight to Rick's face, like Rick would be doing something or would like, there was definitely times when Rick would say out of pocket shit, but there would be times when Rick would just be like talking about something, and Dan would be like, Rick, can you just shut the fuck up? Like, you're just so fucking annoying. The problem that I have with that, right, is that the problem I have with that is like he brought that up, and then he's like you should take all your clothes off and sit there naked since you just like being naked all the time so much. So I took my clothes off and I sat there and did the podcast with no clothes on. And it was shit like that. Who's King Cobra JF? So yeah, no, that whole podcast was like very uncomfortable, and it was literally just him ragging on me the entire time while I'm sitting there with no clothes on in his apartment, like his fucking apartment with Rick sitting there. And, I could tell Rick was uncomfortable with the situation. And, of course I'm never going to say anything about it because I'm like, what, 18 and like fucking, I'm like, oh, I'm hanging out with my fucking favorite person. I've always wanted to hang out with this person, or would make Rick do shit like be naked in a hotel room, like pictures of him naked on Grindr in like a hotel room that I still have, by the way. They made Rick like take naked photos and make a Grindr account when they were doing Another Dirty Room.
Atop a burdened donkey rode a stranger into town, tilted in the saddle, one leg dragging on the ground. He had crooked eyes, a crooked nose, could look both ways as he crossed the road. The rope that held his pants up was barely even tied. He slid off his steed and took a big swig from a flask. Then he said out loud, although nobody had asked, I'm just a dumb fuck from bumblefuck nowhere. He had bloodshot eyes, a dripping nose. Then through all the chaos we all started hearing clops. He was the dumb fuck from bumblefuck nowhere. Look, my friends, are you sure you wanna go there? Said the dumb fuck from bumblefuck nowhere. Oh, to my surprise, I saw a glint of fire in those crooked looking eyes. He was the dumb fuck from bumblefuck nowhere. The dumb fuck from bumblefuck nowhere. And it sure was a sight to see. They set 10 men up, he knocked 10 men down, and any man who took a stand was sentenced then to die. He was a dumb fuck from bumblefuck nowhere. He was the dumb fuck from bumblefuck nowhere. Oh, the dumb fuck from bumblefuck nowhere.